So I recently finished Call Me By Your Name. I don't have the book on me, or I would be waving it around, as you know I like to do, but didn't care for it, really didn't. Who is this book for? Like, what is its purpose? I'm left wondering that, because this book is so popular and I just found the whole thing quite unhinged. I would like to make the distinction as well, because I do think when I complain about books that are a bit more on the troubling, unhinged side, I don't have a problem with books in general doing that, you know? Like, I understand that characters can be unlikable or complex or unreliable, but there has to be an angle. Otherwise, why? Otherwise, it just comes off as attention-seeking. You are making this book outrageous just to keep me invested, but then I'm not left thinking, oh, that's a good story. And this is exactly what happened here. When I tell you this story, I couldn't get a read on it. Is it supposed to be romantic? Well, no, it's obviously not romantic, but was it supposed to be like heartfelt? Was I supposed to get emotional? This was a true crime documentary about grooming. Even if you look past the fact that Elio is 17, which I don't think you should, lots of people on the internet want to. I mean, the mental gymnastics I've seen defending this book, people being like, oh, well, it's Europe, you know, the age of consent is 16. Like, it's still rough, especially when, yes, Oliver is 24, but he comes into Elio's parents' house as a guest and rather insidiously doesn't make his feelings known, waits for Elio to declare his feelings, almost like he's setting a trap, almost like he can absolve himself of any responsibility for what is so inherently wrong about what then happens between them. It's as if he's like, oh yeah, well, you're the one who wanted this, not me. Like, yeah, you're the 17-year-old, but you're the one who made the first move. Like, ugh, brother, ugh. Mind you, Elio is the strangest, most obsessive 17-year-old I have seen in a long time. I mean, to some extent, I could see it as like a cautionary tale about like the wildness of pubescence. Like, he is down bad for Oliver, but he's also ridiculously cultured. His taste in books, his taste in classical music, that was all very jarring to me. I was like, okay, like, is this a realistic character study of a 17-year-old? No, it isn't. It wasn't a good character study in general. Like, how much can you really tell me about Elio versus, oh, he likes Oliver, he likes the occasional book, and he likes the occasional music. You know, it was very shallow, the whole thing. But as I said earlier, it reads like a true crime documentary. At some point, I thought Elio was going to be like, in a jealous rage, I tossed him off a cliff and chopped Oliver's body into pieces and scattered them around the med. That probably would have been a more entertaining novel. That's why I'm so befuddled at how much this book was a miss for me. Like, this should have been everything that I want in life. Like, it's the Italian Riviera, there is culture porn, there's amazing food, I'm partial to an older man. All of it was like, yes, 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 yes. And then making our main character 17, such a choice. Why? That was a decision that the writer made. He was like, oh, 17, why? Was it supposed to be like referencing A Death in Venice, you know, where like, although I think he's like 14, was it meant to be like a reversal of that, where now like the younger one in the relationship wants it too? Or was it supposed to be about like the female/queer gaze? Like, I don't understand. Like, maybe if someone can explain it to me, I will feel more positively about this story, but I think it's unlikely. I think this is a red flag of a book. I just don't understand why time after time queer relationships in literature have to have some sort of hang-up or some sort of trauma. Like, oh, he's too young, or, oh, like childhood abuse. Like, can't they just be happy and like each other in genuine, non-illegal or problematic ways? Like, can't they just love each other? Give this book any praise at all. It had the temerity to be so weird. There are moments in this book that I cannot compare to anything else I have read. And for that I say, you know what, at least you had the conviction to just go full throttle. You know what scene in particular I'm thinking of? The peach scene. I mean, what was that? First of all, peaches are quite small. I was trying to like mentally picture how it would work, but then I realised I would be picturing the phallus of a 17-year-old, and it just made me even more uncomfortable. I also think my perception of this story has very much been coloured by the film, because I've not seen Call Me By Your Name, the film. I've been told it's much better than the book. I can easily see why, because there's probably more to sort of grab onto with like the Italian Riviera of it all. But knowing that Armie Hammer plays Oliver puts such a pull onto it, because in the book he's 24, which is not old, you know, it's quite a young age, but compared to a 17-year-old, I do feel like that's quite a deep chasm. But Armie Hammer is certainly not 24. He wasn't 24 when he did that film. So again, such a choice, puts me in such a weird place where I don't even know if I want to watch the film. But yes, spoiler alert, as I'm sure you probably already know, Oliver lures Elio into this rather predatory relationship where they fool around a bit, then they go to Rome, then he very casually discards him. Like, he goes back to America because he's like a lecturer in Columbia, which, by the way, 24 years old and he's a lecturer. I don't believe that. But yeah, just discards him. Like, oh, I'm years and years later, I'm married now. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, I wanted to pull Elio through the book and give him a slap and be like, silly boy, what are you doing? Like, it felt like a whole book about, like, a cautionary tale about teenage hormones. Like, the poor boy just needed a tug and to forget about this man because he was so down bad for him. And on some level, I could relate to that time in your life where you are so overcome with these hormones and you feel like the hunger. Like, I get it, but it's compounded by the age difference, it's compounded by it being under his own parents' roof. Like, it's so mucky, and I find it very strange that this book is so popular, especially in the summer. Like, it's a popular summer read. Is it just because of like the Italian Riviera of it all? Is that why people come back to this story? Because for me, it's a full skip. Like, no, don't touch that pot, it's boiling. Yeah, what do you think? Am I being too serious? I don't think I am.